Listen, I don't want to say that I told you so, but I think for me, this chapter proves even more so that Count Saint Germain not only directly benefits from Momo losing her memories, because again, I think it's very clear that the main goal out of everything that Count Saint Germain has been planning has been to steal Momo's power, whatever the id cosmos psychic ability she has laying dormant within her right now is Count Saint Germain's ultimate goal to make the ultimate yokai, as we found out a couple chapters ago. And the reason why I feel this way is because we get a small, low-key slip of how the memory loss works in this chapter, which is otherwise a very casual, average, transitionary chapter in between major plot points, which is what we normally get in DanDaDan. So I wouldn't really blame you if you missed the big moment of this chapter, but that's why I am definitely here to analyze this as best as I can, because I think it's very clear Count Saint Germain has some type of hand in whatever this amnesia is that is affecting Momo. I know plenty of people have already came out, especially even in the series itself, explaining that it's most likely due to Momo missing the time limit of the whole curse removal idea, and that is why she has lost her memories. But honestly, the more time goes on, I buy that less and less. And first of all, the one thing that is the easiest to excuse, and I wouldn't blame me if you were just like, no op, you're crazy for thinking this, I think there is a direct reason we have not seen hide nor hair of Unjizuma or Daiki, the old man that was supposed to turn back into a child. Frankly, in my opinion, it just does not make sense for these two characters that went through all of that hassle to get their curses supposedly removed, went through all of that struggle, that big airplane fight with us, and then after they got their curses removed, supposedly, they don't check up on us whatsoever. They don't come back to the school. Unji knows where we are and say, hey guys, what we went through was crazy, but I'm sure glad we fixed it. Something that I think is very important to note is we never really got our arc story segment ending where everybody has dinner and everybody eats. Now, Seiko is in the hospital, and according to Gigi, even in this chapter, she has multiple other surgeries to do before she's even released from the hospital. But there's too many of these things that are beginning to add up that are making me question if everything really went as smoothly as we assume. The big moment for me in this chapter that makes me think Count Saint Germain has something to do with this memory loss, outside of the fact that he appears right at the cliffhanger at the perfect moment to be like a guidance counselor for Momo and say, hey, please tell me your troubles. Because one big portion that happens in this chapter is Momo is really trying to do her best to recall her friendship with not just Okarun, but with everyone. It's very obvious that, sure, Okarun and Momo have a level of connection that isn't breakable with the loss of memories. Momo still feels that subconscious love, attachment, and connection to Okarun. However, Okarun and Momo, despite having things in common, despite being able to talk to each other and having that prior romance, with all of their prior experiences gone, it's tough to recall on that, right? It's almost as if you have an inside joke with a friend. There's also the trope of you have someone that you may not like and you're never able to see eye to eye, but you go through some traumatic event together and you are able to understand each other and come to a level of empathy for one another that lets you see each other's flaws and understand the upsides and the pros that outweigh the cons. And Okarun and Momo are, I think, a relationship that stems mostly from that. Because remember, even though Momo and Okarun are able to chit-chat, banter back and forth, they do have some level of personality connection. What brought these two personalities to a level where they could actually acknowledge one another and come to fall for one another is the kind of things that they went through. Seeing aliens, going through the ghosts, going through all of the arcs and fights with Ira and Gigi and having their emotions still burst through despite all of that. There is a level of understanding and emotional empathy that is completely missing from these two people that, as far as memories are concerned, have no history whatsoever. That was all wiped.
This video is sponsored by GamerSupps, the ultimate energy and focus formula. Use my code NOOP now for 10% off, and thank you GamerSupps for sponsoring the channel.
To the point where Okarun doesn't want to reveal his true name to Momo because throughout the entire series, we've seen her react to Ken Takakura, right? That's her man idol. That is the guy that she idolizes and wishes that there were more people like. And even from the very first chapter, when she realizes that Okarun's real name was Ken Takakura, she has to change it and give him the name Okarun because he likes paranormal stuff. And herein lies the issue. When Okarun and Momo come to the rest of the group at the paranormal club, everybody is acting a fool and acting ridiculous. And what I mean by that is Kinta tries to tell Momo that, oh, actually, we are lovers. And no way, absolutely is that true. Ira starts freaking out and then does her whole impolite, bitchy kind of thing. Then Gigi tries to step in, say that he's the best at Super Smash Bros. And the thing is, all of this weirdness, all of this nonsense to someone that has no idea what's going on, has no reason to connect with these people and even understand where they're coming from. Momo is right in not only wanting to fight Ira because, like, who are you talking to that way, you crazy woman, but also on top of that, dealing with someone like Kinta, the absolute ridiculous character that people in the anime still don't understand the true value of at this point, right? You need time to love Kinta. He's a great character that you have to come to love and appreciate over the time you spend with him. And I think that kind of goes into everything that I was saying with Okarun earlier. Momo would never be friends with Ira were it not for the supernatural and the things that they have been through. Momo would not be friends with someone like Vamola, right? All of these people were unlikely allies that came together through a common goal, that came together through understanding that without having each other by their side, they aren't as strong as they would be individually. And I think that's where Momo is struggling here. Momo doubts that she was actually friends with these people because it just seems so unlikely that she would even be involved with them. Okarun is the person that she seems the most comfortable with because, of course, she has that subconscious mental connection to him. But even as everyone starts to come off so off and make Momo feel so different and so left out, especially when you have characters like Ira and Gigi unveiling the evil eye or Ira's acrobatic silky form and Momo's not even able to see it, overall, it just makes Momo feel like she doesn't belong with this group because, again, without her psychic powers, without all of those battles and those moments, and especially training arcs like the Space Globalist, going through Danmanra together, all of this stuff that would make these people come to have the friendship that they do, and I don't know how many times I can repeat myself, is just gone. But here's where I think my eyes and my third eye opened. When Momo decides to leave here and she's had enough with the entire group, Ira says Okarun's real name, as she does. She calls him Takakura. And Momo here says, that's it? You wouldn't tell me your name and you just have a regular name? Were we even really friends? I don't believe that if you really think I would react weirdly to that. And that's an immediate detective light bulb over my head popping up because we've always thought Momo's amnesia was because she was reset back to chapter 1. Before she even awakened her powers, before she ever went on the alien yokai turbo granny trip with Okarun, all of that stuff, right? However, if that was the case and that was the only way the amnesia worked, wouldn't the name Ken Takakura really truly mean something to her? But that doesn't even mean anything to her. And to me, especially with the way that Momo feels and how she feels left out and she can't understand why, and there's this fuzzy thing that's blocking everything that she should feel like she remembers, that's when Count Saint Germain shows up. And here's the thing, if it was just Momo getting reset back to level 1, I think she would have fallen to her knees at the words Ken Takakura. Even if she thought it was weird and she ended up walking away and finding everyone in the occult club annoying and like she didn't belong, that name should have still meant something to her. And it's here in this moment that I realize perhaps Momo wasn't reset back to day 1. Perhaps Momo had all of her memories wiped that involved Ken Takakura specifically. Because if that's the case, that would completely achieve the exact same amnesia that we have with Momo getting reset back to the chapter 1, but it would also result in a way where Okarun would never be able to awaken that moment. Because again, what if that Ken Takakura, that name, is what sparks the memories to all come back? That would make sense to me, right? Remembering and acknowledging that love for her one true person. With Count Saint Germain showing up in his weird ass socks and slippers here, ready to hear all of Momo's words, worries, and again, her not reacting at all to the name Ken Takakura, it makes me think that there's some fishiness going on. Unjizuma and Daiki would have 100% shown up and showed us that they were okay, but everyone is so separated. Have you noticed that? None of us are close because Momo not being there has even began to disrupt the main core group as well. Gigi is hanging out with Momo's friends, and Ira is off trying to bring Takakura to hang out. And then you have Kinta, who's all on his own in the occult club, and everything is jumbled and everything is completely set up for Count Saint Germain to prime Momo's powers for his own. And if you ask me, I think the only person that can solve this is Turbo Granny and the Serpoans maybe. I think we literally need to redo chapter 1, and I think that's the only way that's gonna solve it. I don't know if that's a crazy thing to say. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below and what you think about my crazy Ken Takakura theory. Just know I've got plenty other DanDaDan videos and content if you're interested in that on not just this channel in regards to Seiko, Okarun, even Count Saint Germain's origins as a character, but I also have plenty of DanDaDan content on the main channel, No Operator, so don't be scared to check that out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hit that like button, subscribe, peace.